All right, let's pretend I'm a brand new business, just starting out. I've got basically no budget, no know-how. What do you recommend I would do as a total noob?
Well, let's make it even tougher. So let's say you got no knowledge, no know-how, and you got no money.
No money's
right.
That's a good place to go.
Right.
You got everyone's attention.
Right.
How to advertise and market with no money.
Right.
That's a great headline.
Right. And so the truth of the matter is that it's impossible to do that, but it's possible to do it somewhat. So the first thing I'll tell you is if you absolutely positively have no money, you probably can't do any kind of marketing at all, but there's ways to do marketing on what I call dirt cheap budgets. So, like, for example, if you want to do direct mail, a dirt cheap way to do direct mail is with postcards. 4-inch by 6-inch postcard is the most inexpensive way to be marketing your business with direct mail. And so, like, for example, here's a postcard that I sent out when my wife and I went on one of these Alaskan cruises.
I remember this example.
And we decided that before we were going to go out on the cruise, that I was going to mail to my customers a postcard with a message on the back. So if you sort of just turn that over one more time, show the front again.
Okay.
So I just found a picture of the cruise ship. I actually went online and saw a picture of the cruise ship.
Okay.
And I created a postcard. It says, "Greetings from Alaska." And then I wrote a little handwritten note on there. It says, "Even when I'm on my cruise, I'm thinking of you." And then look, I have a stick figure of me on the cover of the cruise ship. I mailed that out, and what I did was I printed up 10,191 of those postcards, and I had them pre-printed with the message on the back. And what I did at the time, Mike, you'll find this interesting, I wanted to get it mailed from Alaska. So before we went on our cruise ship, we actually stayed one night in a hotel in Alaska, and I took the 10,191 postcards with me in a shoebox. And 10,191 postcards, Mike, in case you don't know, fits very nicely in a shoebox.
You're kidding
I
me.
did the research.
Wow.
How I did the research was I stuffed them in a shoebox. And what I did was, in that morning, I got up, and we stayed overnight in a hotel. I got up that morning, and I went to the front desk, and I carried my shoebox of 10,191 postcards with me. And I walked up to the young lady that was behind the counter, and I said, "Excuse me, miss, do you know where I might be able to mail a few postcards?" And she said to me, "Well, I'll take those for you." And I reached down, got my shoebox, and I handed her 10,191 postcards. And she said to me, "My God, Mr. Glazer, when did you write all those?" and I showed her the postcards, and I said to her, "Well, I wrote them all last night, and my arm is just killing me, So I had a little bit of fun with it. We mailed those out, and this was dirt cheap marketing, and people for weeks were coming into my store with this offer where they got just $10 off.
It's just a $10 off coupon.
Okay. And the $10 and they asked me about my cruise ship, my cruise, and so and which is another big lesson.
Because you had scarcity and a time limit, which is use it before I get back, July 27th. Okay.
That's right. So there's an offer and a deadline. Yes. So again, those are two good examples of direct response principles: offer and deadline. But a third example of direct response principle is storytelling, and people are very, very interested in how we live our lives, and all of us are not good, don't do enough of a job of really sharing our life with people that we do business with, because they're more interested in the fact that we took a cruise than they were in the fact that I sold menswear. So there's one great example of how you can actually use it in direct mail. Let me give you one other example, because I know a lot of people do a lot of online marketing. And a good friend of mine, good friend of yours, a guy by the name of Yanik Silver, one of the top internet marketers in the world.
Very bright guy.
Yeah, he used email marketing, and which is again another very dirt cheap type of way to use marketing. And several years ago, he actually he provides products and services that he mails out to people, and invariably a few of them always sort of come back. People want to return them, and he was storing them in a closet in the basement of his house. And his wife Missy, they were having a big party, and his wife Missy said, "You got this whole basement junked up with all this stuff. You got to get rid of it." So he wrote an email, which was, he showed a picture of all the stuff piled up, and he said, "Save Yanik's marriage." That was the name of the email. And he told the story about the fact that his wife Missy wants to get everything out of his basement before the people come over for the party. And so it was an outrageous story. And it was an outrageous thing about saving Yanik's marriage, and that worked perfectly online. And he sold everything that was in the basement of his apartment. So there you have two examples of it. One, you could do it with cheap direct mail, and the other one you can do it with cheap email.
It's a great example. And again, it comes back to what you've done so well. It's that personalization, as you said. That seems to be key. So it's a cheap medium, cheap solution, easy to do, and virtually anyone can take a slice out of their life and model it for their business. And it's outrageous, but it also, you're not, this isn't going to be perceived to be unprofessional because it's real and it's personal and it's you.
Thanks.